rate buy down. Precisely, it's a seller rate buy down that we'll be talking today. As just Jody mentioned, like this is a kind of topic, is a kind of real hot topic. I'm not getting that exaggeration right now, but let's talk and understand that what is this buy down is all about and how that would help our clients. Because as we are here in the morning and talk about this topic, it's all about to understand the process and how as a team that we can make sure that this gives us the better leverage when the market is really soaring high as far the interest rates are concerned. Because we all are aware of the fact that definitely when we started this year back in January 2023, there are a lot of people like there, I would say a lot of economists, great people understanding this process. They said, hey, by Q3, Q4 of 2023, rate will slowly go down because that's the trend that they're seeing back in 2021 onwards. But because the CPI core index was actually slowly getting into the curve, inflation is slowly going down on papers. Job market is doing a little better. But as we see, the gold standard from the Case-Shiller index, that home prices are not going down in at least Bay Area that we are seeing. Even if you see the standard like USA results, June, July, it's being appreciated by 5.9%. So that clearly gives us an indication that yes, market is not yet ready to shrink. Definitely there is a lot going in that buyers are motivated even in the higher interest rate. So in this situation, we need to find out a strategy. We need to find out a way that buyers are also getting some relief. And on that particular tone, I believe that we are not saying something new. I would always call this rate buy down is not a new thing. It's an old wine in a new bottle. And this is a perfectly suited product when rates are misbehaving like a teenager right now. Just like a teenager, rates are everywhere. I call it like that. The reason being that as long as we want things to be under control, it's not in control. And we are seeing the options like down the line in 2024 also, there is not much scope that rate will be going down that we are anticipating because there are a lot of like factors involved. If you see the recently published job report, it's showing a huge amount of new jobs creation. Though there are some duplication of events, and I'm not going into that detail because that is not directly correlated with our topic, but how we can make a positive correlation out of this situation when rates are always, people are coming, like every time people come to me, like those who are waiting for 2021, those clients come back and say, hey, Amit, so back in 21, when I reached out to you, you said the rates are around 4.5, just as an example. Right now it's 7.5. How should I qualify? Is there a way that I can again get into that like low payment mode, at least for next 2 years, because I just changed my job and next year I'm about to get another chunk of my RSU, joining bonus, another money will be coming on their door. But I need a recent relief. I need a temporary relief on some payment module. Regarding that, as I just said, that this is not a new product. When I start talking to some of the agents who are working for last like 6-7 years, they said, Amit, is it a real story? Is it something new? What is this product all about? And I said, believe me, when I talk to veterans in this real estate domain who are for a long time practicing, back in late 90s and early 2000, this is a very much known product. It is not a new product per se. So let's now talk about the real crux of this buy down. So when we talk about buy down, there are generally two things. One is called permanent buy down. One is called temporary buy down. So permanent buy down is generally by the buyer. So buyer will buy a rate, like suppose the rate is, for an example, is 6%. And then buyer is buying an upfront point, 1 point, and their rate goes down accordingly, and they will be paying for that 1 point, and that is for throughout the loan life. It's a permanent. There is no change, nothing, no, I would say hidden clause, no temporary rate reduction or anything. Now, the unique thing that we talked about talk about today, that's seller paid, or I would say a temporary rate buy down. So what is this temporary rate buy down is all about? As the word is very important out here, it's temporary, it's not permanent. So it just worked for a small span of time. So 3 maximum years are 3, like 3 years, 2 years, and 1, like 3-to-1 buy down. It can be a 2-1 buy down. It can be a combination of different, like 1-1-1 buy down, but maximum buy down possible is up to 3 years. And how it is possible? It is possible with sellers. Seller is giving you a credit as a buyer so that you are using that money as a subsidy and get your interest rate reduced from the note rate that is as of rate today to a reduced rate over next 2 to 3 years. We will definitely go into more and more details. But as you see on the board, like this is called a win-win scenario. This is the first time, believe me, when I would say 3 months back when I start reaching out to my clients and I say, hey, considering the current scenario, this could be a win-win scenario. The first thing I got from them that, hey, is it really possible? Is it a hack or something? Is it really true? But believe me, if you see on that is what I put on the slides, it is definitely a great thing for the buyer, because for buyer, this is a relief of payment. There's a relief of interest rate over a small period of time, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. And they can use this money that they got from as a seller paid discount to them, like for next 3 years, and using this money for refinance anytime. Okay, this money will be parked in an escrow account. It is not a money that it will be gone after for sure after 3 years the money will be gone, because this seller subsidy is being used to bring down the rate. So the difference between the current rate, that is called the note rate, and the discounted rate, every month certain amount as a monthly subsidy will going towards your loan. And that's the way next 3 years you will be enjoying the low rate and the lower monthly payment possible. But after 3 years it will be gone. But what is the motivation for the buyer? To be very honestly, they know like next 2 to 3 years, there is an opportunity for refinance. And if there is an opportunity for refinance, they will always use that money for refinance. And if I go to the next one, I always believe that this is the different products. And as I just mentioned, the available products, as you can see, 3, 2, 1, and these are all on fixed rate products. It's a 30-year fixed rate products. Jumbo loans are always available. I will always say that these are different products in combinations for agency loan, that's for confirming, for FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo products, FHA, Cal FHA, everywhere this product is applicable. It's not like on any individual singular product. It's for across the board, different products are available. Now coming back and talking about the motivation from the seller's perspective. Now seller has 2 different motivation in mind, that hey, in this kind of changing economy, if I'm listing a house, I want my desired price on table. But believe me, I believe in this room that we are all sitting, or people who are on Zoom, we all have seen that if the property is sitting back more than 2-3 weeks, definitely it is sitting longer. And then seller has a mental acumen to talk to his listing partner or listing agent that, hey, let's going back to the drawing board and see that if we do any new strategies out there. The first thing they said, okay, let's do a price reduction as a standard set of practice for the last 2 years. Without doing that, seller wants from day one to reintroduce this old wine in a new bottle format. This is a win-win scenario for both of them. Let's get into a discussion, because I always believe that being a data person, being an engineer, being a data person, I always a firm believer about the numbers. If we have the numbers, then we can explain things more aptly to our clients. So let's talk this through. I know, like from the class, from the audience, you have questions. We'll go through the questions one by one. But let me explain this thing. This is a scenario where It's a $2 million listing price, and suppose they got $2 million,
So you buy it down for
and
the first
the
2
down
years.
payment is 500K.
Mhm.
So basically, we are talking about two different scenarios where option A is precisely with no buy down. That's a standard setup practice for last 5-6 years. When rates are definitely under control, no one really cares about it. Believe me, no one literally cares about going into this kind of new processes. They said, okay, I'm getting, like, just as an example, 2021, if you go and sell this product to any client, they said, Amit, give me a break. I'm getting 2.5% right now. Why should I bother about all those things? Seller will give me a hard time by saying that, Amit, rates are right now like 2.5%, 3%. Do you think at all I need to give any credits to buy it down more? No. So believe me, it's the human mind, it's the psychology of us who helps us understand that in the changing economy, changing pattern, how we'll adapt with the newer situation. So as being said, in option A, when there is no buy down for a $2 million listing, I'm just picking up any investor bank, the rates are 7.375 with an APR 7.58 with no point, 30-year fixed product, jumbo product, the monthly payment is coming to $10,360, principal plus interest. Okay, now talk about option B. Option B is basically, now I'm convincing. How we will convince our buyer? We will make them aware about this product. We'll go into those details later. But let's, just for a theoretical purpose, talk about, yes, we are managing, we are talking with our client and giving them the option of buy down. If it is a buy down, then definitely, as you see, interest rate is little higher. But the motivation with the little higher interest rate with no points, 30-year fixed, monthly payment is $10,746. So what is the difference between the monthly payment? As you can see, the difference on top, the savings, if you go for no buy down, you will be saving $386 per month. So the first objection may come from your buyer that, hey, if I go for a buy down, then I need to pay $386 more. But more than likely, what are the benefits that you will see down the line under section B? Savings every month. Year one, as you can see on the chart, that is a rate buy down calculator chart, that you can see that if they are going for the current market rate, that means 7.75, then their monthly payment is $10,746. But if they go for a 2-1 buy down, the first year rate is 5.75, monthly payment $87.53, that they're saving $1,600 straight away on table.
So if you don't get a raise,
On year two, they're saving $631 straight on table. And not only that, as I just told you, like, this is the money being parked by the seller into an escrow account, and buyer will be using that. And how much seller has to give a subsidy for this kind of a scenario? Close to $37,000. So buyer is actually saving. So what is a profitable option for them? Save $386 or $1,600 from day one in this changing process. It's always a bigger question on them. I have clients, I have seen clients, they want lower monthly payment from day one, any way possible. So for them, this year one, year two is a great advantage for them. And they also try to explore the next 2 years. If there is an opportunity for refinance, they can use that seller paid money. Again, I'm repeating, it's a seller paid money. Seller is giving that discount on table. They're using that one for their refinance. After year one, they're still left out with kind of $12,000 on table. So they can use that money for refinance. They can use the rest of the money towards their principal reduction in their loan amount. Suppose our refinance cost is $3,000, just as an example, rough example. So after year one, they are still left out with $12,000. They pay $3,000 for refinance cost, and then rest $9,000 will be adjusted towards their loan. So it's a great product that way if I see in terms of buyer's perspective. Now coming down to the next one, let's understand the psychology. As I said, this is a win-win strategy. And I said, like, we will definitely talk about the different psychological aspect. I call it psychological aspect because ultimately we need to make sure that buyer and seller are both in a win-win situation. So what about the psychology on the listing perspective from the seller? As I just mentioned, or rather I will ask any one of you that when the property is sitting close to like 3.5 weeks to 4 weeks, what do you think? How much would be the price reduction? They are going back to the drawing table. Do you have any idea from the class? What do you think? Like if the property is sitting back for more than a month, how much the price reduction would be? Any percentage, do you think? I believe when I talked, yes, 10%. I got a reply 10%, okay? From this side, any numbers that you think realistically possible? That you are a seller, 1 month we are not doing anything. I come back and say, hey, miss, like we are trying all our efforts. It's not like they're not doing anything. Yes. 40,000. For $1 million, 40,000, like price reduction, the straight like 4% you are talking about, right? 4%, I got 10%. You have any thoughts, ma'am? On a purchase price is $1 million, I would say, or more, I would say then 3%. So that's, I mentioned out there, like that I actually discussed about, I believe 10 plus realtors, and they're like all doing great in their own crafts. And they said me the same thing, that Amit, depends on the product, depends on the property, the range is between 3 to 10%. So now go back to the drawing board and think for a $2 million, if it is a bare minimum 3% price reduction, then how much it is? $2 million, 3%, $60K, right? If it is 10%, you tell me how much it is. $200K. And we are not going that deep, okay? If I go back and tell my clients like, hey, after a month, let's go reduce license. Yes, this is all strategy. Now, question may come that, yes, if I rightly priced my house, then definitely it's not like 200K, maybe 30K, 40K, something like that. But it's happening in the market right now. It's not like I'm talking about anything of utopia, out of utopia. It's happening, really, really happening. And down the line, I will talk about the success stories. And now going back, I'm going back one slide. As you can see, how much is the subsidy given by the seller? The subsidy is only close to $37,000 or $36,000. So is it better, or I will give 3%, this is 60,000. So this is the seller motivation. And we are pinpointing that seller motivation from day one, that I'm saying that Mr. Seller, if you are doing this thing, after 1 month down the line, 45 days down the line, why won't we introduce this same product from day one? Yes, sir. If you can talk over mic, I believe everyone can. Hello. Hello. Yeah.
It would seem that the seller, if his listing there's been no activity for a month, this would be a more viable option to consider than a price reduction.
Perfect. I would 100% agree, and believe me, when I see this trend over, like I studied this trend, because as I said, being a data person, I always gather data, seeing data. So I would say last January, I've been more inclined to this kind of a product, but I never practiced this product because I always believer of practicing something before preaching. So when I get to know about this product, and then I studied, I get into this, talked with my clients almost now for 10 months. But initial time, I was also gathering data, and I'm seeing this kind of changes, like changing in the paradigm shift. Now, Now, one motivation already we got, we saw from like the people, they're saying, hey, if the property is sitting for long, they're planning to price reduction. This is one of the strategy that definitely we can employ for. And now there is another option that if it is a competitive listing, this is a second option that I will give you an example as well as a success story. Now, it's not like property is sitting for long. Like suppose they've just listed the product, maybe 2, 3, 1 week in the market, and seller always thinks that, hey, I'm getting my top dollars on table. There is no harm reaching out to the listing agent and the seller and say that, hey, we have a product like this. Tell me what you are thinking and what is the range of, or what is your expected listing price that you are anticipating. Believe me, every seller, every listing agent have a communication and they said, okay, this is what net I want. For $1 million listing, I want maybe 990 or 950. I'm super happy. Just for an example. So if you get to sense that one, and that sensing will only happen when we go through a discussion, continued discussion with the team. If we get to know 950 is the desired price, then top up your buy down amount. Suppose the buy down for a 950 is just like $18,000 for 2-1. So 950 plus another 20. 970, seller would be more than happy to give you back 20K at your closing. You are also happy as a buyer. Only one consideration, you might ask that, Amit, in that case, buyer is actually paying himself indirectly additional 20K and getting back that same money at closing. Yes, that's true. And what is the downside or kind of an, I would say again, psychological loophole out there, that they're paying extra 20K and that will be denting them back on their property taxes? Yes, they're paying extra 20K on their purchase. But if you see the calculation, I will go for a real, for this one as well. For $2 million, the property tax versus $2,025,000, the property tax difference is $462 per year, not month, per year. When you are into a competitive space, I have seen buyers writing 6, 7, 8 offers, never get into the groove properly. But using this product, not only in a lower price range, in a higher price range up to like 5 million, they get into the groove quickly. So we know there is a common thing, marry the house, dead the rate kind of a thing. So everyone knows that kind of a process. But with this, they are more happy. And I would go to the next one. This is not a myth. I would always say this is an option. We can always place upfront and sell quickly in this changing market. And this is a live listing, not right now, but this was a listing when we present to the seller that we provided those options. Same thing, the listing price on this one is close to 950. And as you see, it is a 3-2-1 buy down. That means in the first year, the rates are 4%. Again, this is an example. This is not a, like, every scenario, every situation is different. For this one, can you believe that if you go and talk to your buyers as a buyer's agent that, hey, I have a product for you to offer like 4 or 4.5% or something like that, believe me, they will be out, like they will be blown. They said, oh my goodness, you have a product, you have something to talk about. And definitely we have a motivation for the seller as well. So the communication is different. And you can use that same amount of money, again, anytime parked onto your escrow account for refinance. And this is a listing, this is in Meridian Avenue, this is in like San Jose area. So this option is a great option that you can use at your open house. You can talk during your listing presentation. You can talk in your buyer's presentation. And I'm a strong believer, like whether it is a myth, whether it is a hack, or it is a reality, believe me, it is a reality. This is a San Francisco house. And as we know, recently in San Francisco, there are a lot of great houses around, but there's like certain motivations. People are coming out of the city, properties are hanging for a long period of time. This is an excellent neighborhood, walking distance to BART, but the property is sitting more than a month out there. we talked to the listing agent, we talked to the team, and ultimately, as you can see clearly, it is not a myth right now. It's a reality and it's very much happening. It's clearly written that attractive seller buy down options available, rates can be low 5%. So it's not my verbiage. It's the verbiage from the listing people that they're putting into things. So I always believe, again, it's mentoring. It's a hand holding between you and your client. If you can do that thing in a logical, in a sensible way without pushing them, because with my experience, I would say every other day, I had a call with the listing agent, with the seller. They need to understand. Sometimes sellers are kind of buying 3-4 houses over last 30 years. They know everything. Believe me, they said, Amit, you need not to explain, you need not to sell me on the product. I know what it is. I have a great experience. 2 weeks back, I was talking to a seller, and the seller said, believe me, in 1987, when I bought my first house, my interest rate was 13% plus. And I got my house from my seller, and seller gave me the buy down option that point of time. So again, it's not a new thing. But you need to explain this thing to people who are not being exposed to this kind of thing. They bought the house, suppose, first in 2014. Now they're buying their next house or selling their existing house. They might not know this product. They have a lot of questions that what would be my additional tax implication? What would be my net gain? We are not like CPAs, so we cannot advocate them or advise them on those numbers. But believe me, I have a transactions going in, seller is super happy. He said, I know, like, I will be giving back 25K, and I know how much my lab or my net profit or gain I need to pay on that. He said, I'm completely happy. That's a peanut for me. They know, they're completely aware of it. So what we need to do, we need to only showcase the positive things, and they will figure it out. If it comes to some financial numbers that we are not aware of, especially related to tax and things, let them talk to their CPA. Do not push them on their same negotiation table. They will come back, believe me. And that's not my word, this win-win proposition. It's the proposition being created by the industry people. The top people, they have created this story. Again, there is another example. As you can see on this example, this property is sitting on more than close to a month, 26 days on market. Initially, the property was listed on close to 1.9 million. It is a price reduction almost close to 100K. And now, as you can see, seller offering, like seller credit, reduced buyers interest rates, like all those verbiages are there. And again, this is not me creating something. It's readily available on public forums. It's happening. It's very much happening. So the example that we discussed in the class with Robert said, hey, Amit, if the property is sitting for a long time, so that could be an option that we can always reach out and motivate our buyers. Yes, this is a traditional example of option one that you can always loop in. You can talk. Believe me, I live close by this neighborhood, so I know this area. Excellent area. Everything is fine. There is nothing wrong. When there is a price reduction, believe me, some of my clients always reach out to me. Hey, Amit, do you think there's wrong with the house? No, dear. It's not the case always. There are beautiful, good houses are sitting longer. So and sometimes people have always a thought, hey, can I do something better, something very unique in my marketing style strategies? Believe me, the way the market is behaving, that's why I said, the rates and market is just like a teenager right now. They're misbehaving all over. So we need to be their guardian. We need to tell them that, hey, we are around. We are here as your mentor, as your friend. We can handhold them in this tricky water. That's all we need to do. This is another example on the high-end listing, 4.1. It's an annual listing. Initially, when it was listed, it saw 4.9. Then it went down to 4.7. You might be asking a question that, hey, maybe it's not priced properly. I'm not going into those things. But what I'm trying to showcase here, that things are happening. You see, there is a drastic reduction, almost $1 million price cut on this one. House went back to market. It was getting into a contract, contingent contract, and again back to market. I don't know the story behind, but ultimately, as I pointed out in YOLO, on this one, possible seller concession, seller financing, lease options, rate buy down, those are very much available. So if you ask me a question that, Amit, have you only seen this kind of products are like very successful in the lower price point, maybe within $1 million? My answer is very much true. But in a higher price point, always it's a possibility. But what it needs a hand-holding and continuous discussion with your partners. And believe me, I'm a strong, firm believer about the reality versus myth. It's not the, I would say, theory. Being an engineer, when I was in my lab during my college days, I always believed that unless we do some experimentation on the wet lab, we cannot say that theory is successful or theory is actually count true. So we need to do some research, like some wet lab research, just to make sure that yes, whatever we are reading, whatever we are practicing, it has a reality. And this is a true story. And this is for option B on a competitive listing. This is a listing in Livermore. When the house was actually listed, my buyers first reached out. This buyer is back and forth 1.5 years. He connected with me after just, say, 7 months back. He said, Amit, I wrote 3 contracts. We are not successful. I just reintroduced this product in a different way. And I said, let's do like a homework together. When this property was 3 days on market, we reached out. The agent told me, Amit, do your magic. I wrote my email. I create a custom presentation, just like a flyer, presentation, everything. Send it to him and say, talk to the seller. That means listing agent. Listing agent said, buddy, I know that he's from Compass. We know each other. He said, I know the product, but my seller, believe me, it's a 3rd day on market. He won't buy this. He won't pay you back anything. It's competitive house. My buyer said, I'm not going to lose this house. No matter what, Amit, I need this house. Also, I need a lower interest rate and low monthly payment. Believe me, it's a tough call, right? You are sitting to help your client and they have all this need list on your end. Okay. 3 days, we put it, no response from seller. Honestly, no response. We said, okay, let's wait. 13th day, I believe 11th day, we again reached back. It's continuous follow-up and persuasion. Hey, do you have anything on hand? They said, yes, we do, but it's not that what we are anticipating. We have another good offer, but they have maybe 2-3 offers, but the offer, they need to sell to buy. Seller is not interested. What else you can do? I said, okay, I have a good proposition. I have a fully underwrite file. I can close in 15 days. They said, are you kidding? I said, no, I'm not. We can close 15 days. Okay, so okay, that's a good thing. What else? I said, again, we are going back to the same drawing table. My buyers want a lower monthly payment. And what you can do for us. 13th day, we got a first communication back. There are 2 rounds of negotiations. First communication back. Okay, you give me close to a listing price. As you know, we all professionals, I cannot disclose numbers, but they said, I need, or my seller needs numbers. If you need to make your buyer happy, you add up or jack up your purchase price. We did the same thing. We add the buy down amount on top of whatever they are looking for. Boom. Within 2 hours, we got the ratified contract. But smartly, we added another thing. We add the appraisal contingency on it in case there is an issue. And we explained that thing to the seller. I said, see, Mr. Seller, this is what my buyer is also thinking. He's actually putting his own money, hard-earned money on top of the purchase price. Can we get a common ground, appraisal contingency? He said, I know my house, and believe me, they have a great upgrades they did inside. They said, we are sure that you will get your appraisal. They give the appraisal contingency. Now, We are on 10th day. Appraisal came at purchase price, at value. First tick. Buyer is super happy. We doing a 2-1 buy down. Rates are close to 4.875. I don't remember exactly the rate right now on top of my head, but they're saving at least $1,200 straight away from day one of payment. Happy, happy, happy. Seller said, I'm super happy because they are getting whatever the current price, like current net, not the buy down price, net, they are getting at least $27,000 less. They are getting $27,000 more right now. So this is the true story I'm sharing. And as I said, I'm a firm believer. Before preaching, I always believe I need to practice. And I have a conviction about talking about something that I firmly believe from core of my heart. Again, $4.8 million listing, not a small one. Cupertino. Get into a contract on 26th of September. Buyer got to know, I don't know, he's in my, like, connected, some friends bought a house from me. They reached out to me and say, I heard about this product. Can I apply on my house? I said, yes, but are you already in contract? Let's do some negotiations with the seller. Seller initially said, like, we are okay with it, but you need to jack up the price. But meanwhile, he already locked in rates and all the processes in 10 days. But as you see the email chain out here, I just masked his email address purposefully. It's on 2nd October when he already got into a contract. So this way we get into the skin of the game, talk about like, hey, the listing price is only 4.6 million and you need to give 70K from the purchase price. And believe me, this is a game changer right now in a higher end price. Atherton, Menlo Park, I'm right now talking to high-end listing people. They're also trying to employ this strategy, but all it comes with communication, it's knowledge. It's not like you need to understand. I'm not going into the details behind the layering of the microeconomics, like how we need to do that. That needs an experience, and that's why I'm here. And we have multiple different big investors out there on that one. And believe me, I was with Big Bank before now I'm with Origin Point, but before that I was with Top Bank. But big banks still do not have a way because all the investors are with brokerage and firms. So that's a great product. That's a great product to have. And we can use this product to leverage the best output. And now I would say, like, as I'm talking in this forum, we are catering to our realtor partners. We are catering to our tribe and friends. Then how it is beneficial for our real estate agents? That's the more important topic to discuss. Why it is important? Like, is it like, definitely we understand it is important for the buyer, important for the seller. We are making our people happy, our clients happy, but are we making ourselves happy? Yes, for sure we are doing it, because being a listing agent, we all know the pain that if I cannot sell, it is sitting, all my costs are lying around. My staging cost, all the ancillary cost, marketing cost, videography, all those things. You are selling your listing pretty quickly as a successful strategy. You can definitely get into an adaptability mode where the real estate agents who offer buy down can adapt to market conditions in this changing economic tricky waters. It's a faster sell in a both end. It's a competitive advantage where offering this temporary buy down can make our property more attractive to potential buyers, giving agents a competitive edge in the market. It will create a higher commission opportunity for you when you know that what you are selling and what you are talking to your clients. So in a nutshell, when we talk with our tribe, when we talk with our economy, this is definitely a win-win situation, not only for buyers and sellers, for us as well. And as I said, like, there are different marketing opportunities, especially at your listing appointment, especially when you talk to your buyer, that we can create this custom presentation to them. I'm always there, and I'm more than happy to handhold. And this is an example that we especially did on this listing. Like when we reached out to few buyers who were interested to understand that, hey, what would be my monthly payment at the year 1, year 2, and what would be the numbers that a seller is looking? Because on this listing, as you can see, there is already a price cut about like 100K. Now, if you already a price cut, you already sliced the price about 100K, and now you want, I do not want to go that direction anymore. Rather, go for this option and sell it quickly. So again, these are all options, opportunities. So I would always say that identify the opportunity. Which are the listings those are qualified under these parameters, under this buy down category? That is the need of the hour. Talk to your listing agents and the team and act like the subject matter experts mean. I would say this is a journey. Again, this is a journey of hand-holding and mentoring with your clients, with your partners, with your friends. Believe me, if we ask each other that, hey, you want to buy a home, my rate of interest is as soaring high as close to 8%, most of the people will get into a palpitation mode. I need to get into a home ownership with 8% interest rate, with so much of payment on table, versus you have an opportunity for first year with 4% with this amount of payment. You see the psychological paradigm shift. We all are human. We are so adaptive in this changing world that we know what is happening around us. If you think about almost a year back, then rates are slowly increasing. That point of time, we all are getting into our shell and said, hey, let's wait for another 6 months. Believe me, last year, August till December 2022, people are thinking by January 2023, everything will be coming down, they will be buying. No, it's not the case. As I just mentioned in my, I believe, is second slide, that Case-Shiller index clearly showing the market is very strong. So being that said, it's not like the case the rate will be going down tomorrow all on a sudden. Prices which are like 1.6 million is going down to 1 million. No, it's not going to happen. Most of them coming down. Most of the sellers, believe me or not, they refinance during this 2020 and 21 journey. They are sitting on a good amount of equity on their houses. They are not getting any motivation to sell unless there is a death, divorce kind of a situation in the family. Yes, sir.
Just a quick question. I've been through about 4 or 5 election processes.
Mm-hmm.
Every election here, don't wait, get really crazy. Every year.
Yeah.
So there's no way that we can expect to see them come down by next year.
I would say, again, not getting into anything election or anything, I would say next year would be a very funny year to watch for. Many flowery things can happen because, as you just mentioned, election year. So we can see some relief. We can see some bumpy road. We can see some roller coaster ride in the economic forum changes. Some quarters you will see, oh my goodness, rates are now down, down, down. And then all of a sudden something new can happen. So new things can happen. And that's the reason I said, like, don't wait for the uncertain things. Just work on whatever we have at hand. And this is a wonderful, or I would say powerful tool at hand to explore. And if we can work in a team, this is the crux. Most of the times, believe me, the generation of buyers that we are dealing with, they're here for 10 years, max 15 years max. They never been exposed to this kind of products. You need to explain them. When I talked to my client in the success story, my client said, Amit, what is my extra property tax that I need to pay? I said, monthly, it is $18.93. He said, that much? that much will actually help me to buy a home out of competition, I will go for it. I said, that's the story. People will only tell you, if you pay $25,000 more, your property taxes will be huge, but no one will coming down and telling you a number. I will tell you a number because I'm a number person. If I tell you, you will lose a house, or there is a chances you lose out of competition, that if you are not paying that much amount, just for a matter of $18.93, I would say 90% of the buyers would say, okay, I will take it, then leave it on table. So that's the reason I would say it's a journey of team. It's a journey of understanding. So being that said, I would conclude my call. We are almost close to 1 hour mark. So thank you so much for patiently hearing. If you have any questions, definitely we are make it open for Jody. You are also there. So if people have question on the Zoom call, we can take it from the class. If you have any question, my contact details are here, and we are definitely partners with SCORE. And thank you, Jody, for giving me the platform to share the thoughts, as I personally believe this is a game changer. Again, old wine in a new bottle. So let's get the taste of this old wine and help our buyers and sellers. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to start with a Zoom question. And then if you do have questions, I do ask that you use the microphone, pass it to each other. That way our friends on Zoom can hear the questions. There's a question from Zoom on, is there a prepayment penalty?
No, there is no prepayment penalty. As far as most of the products and investors that I have seen, I would say none of them. And that's the reason you need to always, before you will reach out, before you will write a contract, talk to the pro, talk to the experts. I'm always there. Reach out. It's not like that you will write a contract and then you will fine tune your like buy down options. Before that, you understand your options and benefits. But most likely your answer is no. Most of the products are not having a prepayment penalty.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please explain more detail regarding the buy down? Like example, you mentioned earlier about 3-year buy down, and then after they move in, and then after 1 year they refinance. And how did they use that money to refinance?
Okay, great questions, I would say. So suppose, going back to an example, that it's a 950, suppose, like for $1 million purchase price, and seller is giving a 3-to-1 buy down subsidy. It is coming to $26,000. So after year 1, suppose in that, from the $26,000, still $16,000 left. Okay. Up to this, it's clear, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Got it. So he, like the buyer, saw there is an opportunity in the market of refinance. So the year 1, the interest rate is like 5.5%. Now year 2, 6.5%, when the market is gone down to 5.5%. He come back to me or come back to you and said, hey, now I'm 6.5%, but I'm seeing there is an opportunity of 5.5% that I already enjoyed for last 1 year. Can I refinance? First answer is yes. So the $16,000 that is left out in that account, they can use that money for refinance cost. If the refinance cost is suppose $3,000, so they will first use $3,000 from $16,000. So left out with another $13,000 in the escrow account. And the rest is $13,000 will be readjusted with their loan amount in the new one.
They have to be the same lender in order to apply that unused money to the.
They need to do a refinance. They need to reapply.
But
Yeah.
they can go back to the original lender, or it can go any lender.
Any lender. You need not to stick to, like, suppose I'm doing it. Give an example. I'm doing the first help to your client. You're my client. You did loan with me. I helped you get that rate. And after 1 year, you see that there is another better rate provided by some other lender. You can go. It's the escrow account. You can use that escrow account anytime for refinance. It's,
You mean the money left over, the holding in the escrow company, right?
right.
Okay, and they can use it. Okay,
Right.
got it. Thank you.
Robert, okay.
So you were saying these programs are available for owner occupied homes. Is there any programs, 321 buy downs for investors?
No,
No.
investment properties, unfortunately, it's not. So it's our primary dwelling only.
Okay.
There are some products for the second home, but most likely these products are primary, more focused on primary ownership. Just to give people more kind of comfort to get into the door.
Quick question.
Yeah, please.
So back to her scenario, would it behoove the transaction to go through the same escrow company that's holding that escrow? Or is it, because first she asked, can they use a different kind of a lender
Yes,
to refinance? Yes.
Yeah.
So if the initial loan was with certain escrow company A,
you can change the escrow. It's not like escrow specific as well.
so how do you how do you?
That between the escrow question. So
Okay.
suppose you started this journey with escrow, like when you purchase the house, it start with escrow A, like title company A. You refinance and then you see that another title company B has some better like options. You can move the escrow from company A to company B. It's completely a buyer's choice.
Okay.
So basically it's an account, just like you can think about two different banks, A bank to B bank. You are moving the account from here to there. That's all. Yes. I think you need to press the button. That's done.
Check, yeah.
Yes, check. Lindsay, right?
That's a singer for you. I go check. I had a question about the permanent buy down.
Got it.
So what are the payments, or like what is the difference between, the principal and interest for the buyer over the long term?
I would say if you go for a permanent buy down, the word says is permanent, right? So suppose on a $1 million, like you are paying 2 points. So basically straightway it's $20,000 to $30,000 you are paying upfront on table. So that money is gone. You are not getting back that money just like this escrow account, right? That's the one downside. Like after 1 year or maybe after 3 months, this is a crude example that after 3 months, you see there is a refinance opportunity and you say, oh my goodness, I already spent $20,000 and now I need to pay for my refinance fee. And then no matter what, I need to get into another transaction, another loan. That way, I would believe it's not a wise choice, but people can always, and that's the reason people not buying for a permanent buy down. And on top of that, if you go for a permanent buy down, the costs are more rather than this kind of a buy down. I did that example because it's not like straight 1 point, 2 point you are paying multiplied by the loan amount. It's all about the market changes and the cap, margin plus cap for an ARM loan. Yes. Yeah. I'm thinking to press the button.
So I just look at the chart. The first pages of your presentation, they say the buy down, that's for the jumbo loan. The jumbo loan there, they say seller paid only. Or yes, so
yeah.
So can you explain that for
I would
this
say
buy
this is
down?
an unique. I was forget to mention during my communication. I would say always it's seller paid, but it's a trick altogether. Like suppose you are a buyer's agent, right? And you had a great relationship with your buyer and you are helping them buying their third home. Most of the time I have seen then they are very gracious enough to give certain thing back to their buyers. So tell the seller that, hey, I will be taking that much amount of less from the transaction. So seller can use that money towards the buy down. So it can be paid by any agent in the transactions as well. But on the face of it, it should come from the seller. Just as a crude example, like I'm giving 1% back out of any courtesy to my buyers. So I would take only 1.5% actually in the transaction. 1% goes back to the seller. Seller will be using that money and giving a buy down amount. But ultimately, this is a mix and match. This is a kind of strategy. So when I said, like, when we talk about this discussion with the sellers, listing agent, and our buyer partners, all those things are coming into the action. Yes, ma'am.
So the lender will have a limit credit.
Yes. If it is more than 5% down payment, we can go up to 6%. 6% of the total purchase price. That means 60K can be total credit we can use.
And this one calculated 30 year or 5 years, 7
30
year?
year.
Do you have any 5 year something for a lower rate?
No. Buy down can only up to 3 years. Up to 3 years, but I believe me, 3 years we have. Why the industry people, like industry, I would say experts, have created this product way back in 1890s when the rates are soaring high, because they have seen that every 3-year cycle there is a dip in the interest rate, and then people can refinance as per the process is concerned. And if you're refinancing, believe me, within the 2-3 years journey, why to go for a 5-arm or 7-arm product rather than refinance it? I always say my buyers always that it's the motivation, it's a psychological journey. If you plan to refinance within 2 to 3 years, then no matter what, take the best product and go for it. That's all. Yes.
So you mentioned big banks don't typically offer this?
Yeah.
I see.
No, I haven't seen, with
Okay.
my experience, no other big banks has this product so far. Maybe they're coming up, I have no idea, but till now it's not there with my understanding and experience.
Regarding my previous question,
Mhm.
the money left over in the 2 year, did they show in bank statement?
It will show in an escrow account whenever the escrow statement, when there is an escrow account, there is a separate escrow statement every month. You will get it electronically or a paper copy, and it will 100% reflect all those numbers.
So you mean, let me phrase it again. You mean in the escrow, in the statement under the escrow account, they will show the monthly,
Yes.
how much left over?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
welcome. Ma'am. Yep. Your name?
Hi. So from the lender's perspective, how is it a winning situation?
Lender perspective. Okay, that's a tricky question for me then. Okay, so lender perspective, to be very honest, that we are helping the home buyer journey in a much more smooth manner that we are doing. So all this education process, talking that we are doing, we are kind of creating the baton. It's a relay race. This is a success baton that we are passing from one client to another client. So that's our success. We are creating more and more volume, creating more transactions. That's our profit out there. And definitely, as the investors are out there, investors are supporting this product because they also know by doing that, they're creating their book of business. Okay. Yeah.
Question on Zoom.
Okay.
Confirming the buyer has to stay in escrow during the buy down period.
One more time, sorry.
The buyer has to stay in escrow during the buy down period.
Escrow is, I believe, if I understand it correctly, when the purchase transaction closed, then definitely that escrow is done. You have a separate escrow account, just like a servicing account. Every month, the way people are paying their monthly mortgage payment, principal plus interest, they will be just doing that thing with the escrow account as well. Nothing they need to do like separately out of the box with the escrow. Escrow got closed at the date of the close of escrow. After that, it is just an account. From that account, money will be going down towards your main loan. So that account is created just to support this buy down process based on like the term, maybe 3 years, maybe 2 years, like that. Yeah. Any other question, Jody?
Any other questions? Anybody else on Zoom have questions?
See many lists saying like a buy down option, right? So if we see the listing sitting there for a few weeks, so as a buyer agent, can we reach out to the seller agent to say, okay, there's a case,
I would say do not wait for 3 weeks. I give you an example that we started negotiating on day 3.
yeah, day 3.
Day
Okay.
3. Yesterday, I just talked to one of buyer's agent who got the essence of it. I'm closing 3rd transaction with him. He find out few properties and reached out to me. Hey, these are members only right now. Amit, do your magic, create some flyers or create something that I can reach out to the members only. Even they're hitting the market, they're prep for the prep to come to the market. We can just go and talk to them. It's the way that we are creating the niche. It's all about us, that we are making things easier for everyone. You know your buyer. Being a buyer's agent, you know your buyer, what they're looking, and every box is checked up. Then they are super happy. 7% versus 4%, just as an example. They said, okay, definitely I look for lower payment. Just go and talk. If you do this kind of communication early, believe me, you have much. See, we are all human, right? Suppose I have a listing 2 weeks down the line coming to the market. Every one of us, we see it is a members only on your MLS. Then someone reached out and say, hey, can I have your 10 minutes on a Zoom call? I present, hey, this is my XNS mortgage partner. He will explain you everything in detail. Can you talk to your seller and get back to us? Maybe he will take another week time, but believe me, results are coming. So do not wait, my dear. Yes, ma'am. We have the mic.
So I'm wondering, for the buy down,
It's on.
so for the buy down, you help the buyers or sellers. So basically, how much do you charge for the
Who will charge?
you? I mean, as lender.
Nothing.
So
Those
basically,
are
they buy points or something.
That depends on point. Again, that come back to what she asked. Like suppose the base rate, for an example, base rate is 8%, just as an example. Buyer wants a permanent buy down as well on top of this seller paid buy down. Then they can buy additional points as well. But from the bank perspective, we are not charging anything on that one. It's a seller subsidy. Try to understand. Seller subsidy using for this rate buy down. Bank will always charge their normal course, just like their processing fee, their like brokerage fee, or like their common fees, they will always charge. They will charge their appraisal fees. Those are the standard fees as applicable. Okay. But no separate fees for buy down. Again, this is a topic I would say, if you practice, believe me, it has a great success story. When I started doing that, like almost, I would say I started practicing like 3 months before, like when I actually thought of, okay, let's give it a real shot to it. But when I got 1 transaction closed, 2nd transaction closed, it's like the success. Now I know the thumb rule of it. Go for it. Find out your mortgage partner. If you want any help, I'm always there. But it's all about your communication, your knowledge. This product needs a knowledge base. A strong team to communicate across the board. Please reach out, and we are all there to help. Because as I said, it's our own tribe. It's not one individual show. It's our tribe that we can help each other to grow in the year to come, especially 2024 that we are talking about, all those considering election, everything is around. Lot more is happening. Maybe we are seeing the trailer in the economy right now. Entire movie is on the board. So let's do some teamwork, and we are there to help. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. And I had some questions on Zoom, but can we send your slides out with
Yeah.
the recording?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So for those of you on Zoom, I'll get you guys the slides and the recording. For those of you in person, you'll get the slides. And if you want the recording, I'll send it to you. If you didn't check in with me or Brenda, make sure that you do that. Because we only send it to those of you that attend. If you have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, we got lots of classes coming up at SCORE. Come back and see us tomorrow for Chat GPT and AI.
Yes, for sure. On that note, I
Yeah.
would say tomorrow would be another interesting class on ChatGPT and AI. Please be there. We will talk about past, present, and future about artificial intelligence and how that will help us as an, again, tribe, real estate tribe, to change the thought process. Have a
Definitely.
wonderful day.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.